Good morning students, hope you're all doing well. Now in the last video lecture, we studied about trade in the Indian subcontinent and beyond. Some of you might not have followed that video lecture, you might have been busy preparing for your upcoming exams. So make sure you go back to the YouTube channel of our school, or whenever the school website reopens, you can log in and just please attend the video lecture of the last class of the last topic so that you are well versed with that topic too. Okay, so now we'll begin with the next part of this chapter, which is coins and kings. Now, coins are quite vital when it comes to being as a medium of exchange, but it also provides an evidence of all the trade which is happening. So this is for the first time in Indian history that from 6th century BCE that we have evidence of coins. Okay, till before that, that is during the Vedic age, there are no archaeological evidence which point out to the fact that coins were used during that time. So the first evidence that we have is from 6th century onwards, that is during the Mahajanpad era. It is even predating, coins are even predating the Mauryan dynasty. So what are coins? If someone tells you to define a coin, you have to say that a coin is a metallic piece which is used as a medium of exchange. Okay, but do keep in mind that they don't only have a definite weight, they also carry with it a definite purity. Now the coins can be of any shape or size. Okay, it can be squarish, roundish, or rectangularish, depending upon whatever the authority that was minting it deemed fit. And coins can have different metallic composition. Okay, सबसे highest metallic composition किसका होता है? Gold coins का. Okay, then you have silver coins, then you have copper coins, and sometimes you even have lead or potin coins. So why is there this stratification when it comes to coin? Okay, it purely establishes the functional purpose of the coin. Gold है तो उसका value higher है. That means only the larger transaction will take place in gold. If you have to buy items of daily use, small little things, you will not use gold coins. You will end up using either copper coins or silver coins. Okay, so gold was not one of the first material which was used, metal which was used as a coin. It was basically silver and copper first. Okay, so it began in the Mahajanpad era, and they were known as punch marked coins because the symbols that were punched on them were just an indication of how pure that coin is. That means it had a standard weight and it was metallically pure. तो वो symbol ये दर्शाता था that whoever is the authority behind this coin, it is exclaiming the fact that this coin is signifying purity and not forgery. Okay, now the coins have been unearthed through various excavations, and who try to study these coins? There is a separate branch of study dedicated towards unearthing what is written in these coins, okay, to understand its significance. This is known as numismatists, and people who study the coins are known as numismatists. Now these numismatists, they don't only study what is written on the coin or what kind of features it has or what is its metallic purity, but they also try to reconstruct what kind of trade route these coins are found on. Okay, so they try to establish a commercial network that was prevalent during the era in which this coin belonged to. So some symbols on the coin might be related to a particular dynasty. Okay, so historians or numismatists have tried to reconstruct this by looking at some of the punch marked coins which might have been minted by the Mauryan rulers. Matlab one symbol for a particular dynasty. Do keep in mind that minting of coins was a state prerogative of the Mauryans, but that does not mean that other people could not mint coins. ठीक है, merchants होते थे, traders होते थे. Remember we were speaking about how guilds came into existence and guilds functioned as early banks. So even these guilds could mint their own coins, but problem कहाँ आता था? See, the Mauryan coins, the Mauryan punch mark coins would have a legal validity all throughout the empire, whereas the coins minted by these merchants or guilds, they would have a limited validity उसी location में, या only it was acceptable among few people. एक example. Next, we have a lot of factual information given in your NCERT regarding the coins which was issued by each dynasty. Okay, so please keep in mind that you make a note of it. Okay, these might be very important for your MCQ. Okay, the first thing, the first dynasty to bear the name and images of their rulers on coins were the Indo-Greeks. Remember the Indo-Greeks who had established themselves after the fall of Mauryan dynasty in the northwestern part of India. So it was these very Indo-Greeks who managed to mint the first coins bearing the name of the ruler as well as their pictorial representation. Then for the first time, gold coins were issued in the Indian subcontinent by the Kushanas. Okay, so even Kushanas ruled the northwestern part of India till Mathura, and they were highly obsessed with proclaiming themselves as akin to God, okay, akin to deities, and they even adopted lofty titles for that. So these very same Kushana, they managed to, because that was a very prosperous empire and they had trade relations with Rome, they managed to import some of the Roman gold coins or Roman gold and melt them and make their own Kushana gold coins, which was circulating in the Kushana Empire. Then another thing that is mentioned is Roman gold coins have also been found in the Tamilakam region. We have already established the fact, we have already studied about this, that the Tamilakam region had a maritime trade with the Roman Empire. So this is further seen by the fact that Roman coins are found in Tamilakam region or the South India also. So coins of spectacular numerical strength has not only been excavated from the bigger dynasty or the larger dynasty, but evidence of coins in large number has also been found from Punjab and Haryana, which was a tribal republic under the Yodhyas. Now, who were these Yodhyas? These Yodhyas proclaimed their independence after the downfall of, you can say, after the downfall of Mauryan dynasty and during the time of Shunga dynasty. So they proclaimed their independence in the Punjab and Haryana region, and they had a very vibrant trade network. Okay, they very much heavily relied on trade to sustain their economy. Now this is evident from the fact that thousands of copper coins have been unearthed by archaeologists from the region ruled by Yodhyas. Next, you have gold coins which were issued during the Gupta dynasty. Now, these gold coins are remarkable for their purity. Okay, we have already know that Kushanas were the first ruler to adopt gold coins or circulate gold coins. लेकिन गुप्ता एज में उस कॉइन्स का प्योरिटी, those gold coins which were known as dinars, okay, उसका नाम दिनार था. So these dinars were had high metallic purity. देखो जब भी coin, I'm sorry, whenever you are minting a coin, you will have a principal metal and then you'll have an alloy which makes sure that principal metal थोड़ा अच्छे से bind हो. तो वो principal metal का ही, if it's a silver principal metal, it can be a copper principal metal. So हम लोग कहते हैं कि it's इतना percentage pure. So अब gold what happened in case of Gupta gold coins is that this principal metal was gold, which was higher in percentage than that of the alloy which was used to bind this metal. Okay, so the highest purity of gold coins were found during the Gupta age, indicating the high level of transaction was also taking place during inside this empire. From 6th century onwards, the finds of gold coins टेपर ऑफ मतलब ख़त्म होने लगता है और कम मिलने लगता है. तो इसका क्या इंडिकेशन है? डज दैट मीन दैट आफ्टर 6th century CE there was an economic crisis? So historians are again divided on this issue. There are three theories, okay, three starkly different theories, and let's just look into it one by one. The first theory suggests that the collapse of Roman Empire happened, the Western Roman Empire. You have already studied in the 11th standard that Western Roman Empire collapsed along this time, and the Eastern Roman Empire survived with its capital at Constantinople. But anyway, so with this collapse of Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire, it had a rippling effect on the economy of the subcontinent. Okay, historians believe that this might have happened. We spoke about the fact how Kushanas imported Roman gold or Roman gold coins and minted it for their own currency. So this gold bullion which was being imported, it could not be done so. Okay, so that is why maybe we have lesser evidence of gold coins. Second theory suggests that there were newer towns which were proliferating at this time. Okay, so new empires were coming into existence, they were having their own trading centers or political centers. So that is why older trade routes में ये coins नहीं मिला, gold coins were not found. And the final theory suggests that since these gold coins could have been in circulation, okay, rather than being hoarded and kept in treasury and be buried in earth. ओके, सो वो सर्कुलेशन में ज़्यादा था इसलिए शायद नहीं मिला. तो गोल्ड का क्या प्रिंसिपल थिंग है? इट हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ वैल्यू. इफ़ यू कीप इट इन सर्कुलेशन और यू कैन मेल्ट इट एंड मेक इट इन ज्वेलरी, ठीक है, इट इज़ मल्टीपर्पज़. So that means that gold was being circulated and it was used for a variety of purpose, okay, rather than just hoarding it. So that is also a reason why the historians have not found a lot of gold coins after 6th century CE. Okay, so these are the 3 points. Go through this topic, okay, and the topic before this, okay, and do your assignments on time. That's it. Take care.